What's going on, champs and champions? It's FireMonkey here, and UEFN XP gain is officially broken, and I don't mean that in the way of, oh my god, it's so game-changing, you're gonna gain 1,000,000 levels a second, and that is an amazing way to start the video, but instead I mean broken in the sense where you're actually gaining less XP than you should be. So if anyone remembers, just the other day I made a YouTube video talking about the Accolade device being enabled in UEFN, which as you can see is still working as of right now. You're still able to gain XP and stuff from it, however, it isn't properly tracking in the way you might think, and on top of that, despite Epic Games stating that UEFN playtime XP will be enabled still on every UEFN map, it is not enabled on any map, including the ones that don't have Accolade devices on it. So firstly, let's talk about the Accolade device. What is it? You know, basically, as we mentioned in yesterday's video, it's the little bit of like an XP granter device, so whenever we go to these stages, such as the yellow stage right here, that actual XP grant is through the Accolade device, and it's a pretty cool thing that, you know, existed in Creative 1.0, and it got added very recently to UEFN, allowing people to actually earn and get a lot more progress and a lot more gains from playing any type of creative map out there, right? It was a super hyped edition of UEFN because it allows people just kind of create their own challenges and everything, and having a lot of fun while doing it. However, it also has a little bit of a downside. A lot of people were worried that Epic Games is going to be removing the passive UEFN XP gain, which for anyone who plays UEFN often, it's basically whenever you would like leave a UEFN map, right? You wouldn't get XP right away, but as you kind of logged in like a few hours later or whatever, you would actually gain some of that XP and it would be granted to your account. Epic Games had stated with the release of the Accolade device that UEFN would still do the passive XP grant. However, at least as of right now, assuming it's a bug and not, you know, Epic Games going back on their own word, it appears that that isn't actually going to be happening, because there have been people who've been playing UEFN maps for 7+ hours, right? I asked over on Twitter, I was like, hey, has anyone been getting the passive UEFN XP gain? I've been hearing about people playing Uno for 7 hours, they've been playing this and that for 7 hours, and they haven't received any of the XP that they would have pre, you know, patch system with the Accolade device, and they're kind of worried that Epic Games has kind of decided to go back on their word and just kind of hinder UEFN XP gain entirely for every single UEFN map, right? Not just maps that exist, you know, for the sole purpose of being a cool little UEFN experience, but for every single map out there, including the ones that just don't have Accolade devices on it. And if this change does end up staying this way, where, you know, Epic Games decides that they're not going to bring back the whole entire UEFN playtime system, it actually hinders UEFN as a whole, because it means that there's going to be a lot of maps that people originally were playing and being happy about playing because of the amount of, you know, passive XP gain they would get, even if it wasn't, you know, insane or broken XP, and now they just won't have any of that at all. Now, hopefully by me making tweets over on Twitter and bringing this attention to, you know, a lot more people, the Epic Games can actually fix this so that the passive XP gain that they mentioned that would be enabled in all UEFN maps, regardless of if they have the Accolade device or not, will be enabled and fixed, right? But of course, that isn't the only broken thing about UEFN, because if that was the case, then, you know, this video would just be, hey guys, Epic Games made oopsie, they said that, you know, passive UEFN gain would be enabled, but it's not. But also, in terms of the actual Accolade device itself, it's sometimes lying to you. The reason I say that is because the Accolade device does use your base creative daily XP gain and has a hidden cap on it, and that hidden cap is 400,000 XP per day, aka 5 levels, meaning that if you actually gain 5 levels through UEFN experiences or whatever else, when you go back to the lobby, any of the extra progress that you gained after that 400,000 XP gain will be gone. It will just be wiped from your account, despite it visually showing in the UEFN experience that you obtained that. The reason why is just because of how Epic Games can, you know, tracks the data and how they have their own creative cap. The daily creative XP cap has basically always been 5,000, or not 5,000, but 400,000, and now this cap is kind of, you know, sinking its way into UEFN, but since UEFN doesn't really use the normal creative Accolade device data and isn't calibrated in the exact same way, it will still visually show you going up and gaining that XP because it's not aware of its own caps overall and its own, you know, countermeasures to prevent you from hitting the 400,000 daily XP cap. Now, there is a few ways to go about tracking this and figuring out when you're getting close to the cap or whatever. One thing you can do is before you launch your game, you could add 5 levels to whatever your current level is, and you'll know that once you hit that +5 level mark, that is when you gained all your UEFN XP for the day. So such as me being level 91 now, I know when I'm level 96 from this UEFN map, then I'm done, right? I can't gain any more, and any of the XP that you see visually just doesn't count. On top of that, however, you can also look at creative challenges. So if you have the snapshot challenges that are like, earn XP daily or blah 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 blah, right? Like the earn discovery XP or something. Do I have it in my dailies at all? No, I don't. But if you use like the snapshot quest or any of the creative XP quests and you track that, when you go over the 400,000 XP cap, assuming that you still have that quest available, it will stop going higher and higher to signify that you've already gained all the creative XP you can for that day, and any of the creative XP data just isn't being saved past that point. I know at first people were like, oh, it's probably because, UEFN, how the playtime XP worked, they haven't, saved the data or whatever, so you have to stay for an extra minute or something. No, it's just because there is a hard cap in the back end of 400,000 XP per day, aka 5 levels, and once you earn that hard cap from UEFN, you won't be able to earn any more XP for that day from UEFN maps or even from normal creative maps. Now, of course, the only bypass for this would be the passive UEFN accolade XP gain, assuming Epic Games does go through with re-enabling that system. But as of right now, Epic Games is kind of lying to you with the UEFN XP, right? Because the accolade device isn't giving you as much as you might think it's giving you past a certain point. Of course, any XP you see, like the 3,000 I just got, is actually 3,000 added to my account, but any XP after I reach level 96 in this session won't be saving at all, right? And it won't save if I go into a new game either, because of the fact that I've already gained the 400,000 global XP cap for this day. But also on top of that, Epic Games lied to us by stating that, the passive XP gain system for UEFN would be staying enabled despite them deciding to not really keep it enabled at all. Now, hopefully all this stuff kind of gets patched out as UEFN's accolade device becomes more and more used, and I mean, there already is a few issues here and there because the accolade device itself in UEFN mentions data persistence and, being able to enable it, despite that device not even being in UEFN as of yet, right? You can't use data persistence, so seeing how we have a device in here that is telling you can is already adding for a lot of confusion for a lot of people. But yeah, this is kind of the update on UEFN XP. In some ways, it's not as powerful as you might think it is, but in other ways, it actually could be getting more powerful in the very near future. So with that said, hope you champs and chambettes enjoyed today's YouTube video. If you did, consider subscribing and support the content I create, and I will continue grinding out some levels until I'm fully done with my 5 daily levels from the amazing grind that is UEFN. And I'll be honest here, I know that it might sound weird that it's like, well, that accolade XP cap has always existed in creative mode even before this, so why is there a huge focus on UEFN or whatever now? Well, the reason why is because of a few things. One, UEFN allows for a lot more of those fun experiences that you can't get from Creative 1.0, but on top of that, Creative XP in UEFN is kind of weird, where it doesn't depreciate on any multipliers or something. You may notice whenever you play something like, Creative 1.0 maps, that as you gain XP or something, the values will actually go down, and while that is true for these maps as well, the values seem to not go down as much as they do in normal creative modes, allowing you to hit the 400,000 XP daily cap a lot quicker than before, a lot quicker than if you were just playing normal creative mode. Now, I'm not for sure, how the creative cap works too much, because I do know if you would play, like, XP grind maps or whatever before, you were able to go past the 400,000, XP daily cap or whatever, and UEFN forcibly caps you at 400,000, so that might be something, people could experiment with a little bit more and find out, why is it like this, or why is it better to play normal creative mode or something. But in terms of just playing to have fun and gaining some extra levels, with the benefit of, being able to play those unique experiences, the accolade device is definitely a really good change for UEFN, and hopefully all the little bugs and stuff here end up getting patched out as Epic Games ends up fixing everything with future updates, content updates, bug fixes, hot fixes, all the type of stuff in the very near future. But I thought I would update you guys on why, some of the XP gain you may see in UEFN is lower than you may have expected, and why you may notice yourself reverting a few levels after leaving the UEFN experiences. But with that said, I hope you champs and champions enjoyed today's video. I'll catch you champs and champions next time in another upload. Like the video if you liked it, dislike if you didn't like it, and peace out.